Good morning and welcome to this Dawn Busters Taste Challenge. We have two Irish whiskies. Is Bushmills, the original Bushmills. Now it says 1608. Yes, there is evidence that distilling has gone on at the area called Bushmills in Northern Ireland, okay? Right up on the top northern coast of Ireland near the sea, okay? But there's no evidence that it was from this company. It's just they put that on the label. We've been distilling since 1608. Actually, their first whiskey, the Bushmills Distillery's first whiskey, didn't hit the market until 1786. In the old bottles, if you look at old advertisements from 40, 50 years ago, they say 1786. But this one actually, if you look at the website, it says they've had this same recipe since 1888. So really 1888. All right. 136 years ago. Still old brand. 40% alcohol. It's triple distilled Irish blended whiskey. You're going to have single malt whiskey in there. Copper pot still whiskey and mostly grain whiskey. Probably 80% grain whiskey, but the flavor is going to come from the copper pot still in the single malt. All right, so that's Bushmills from the British territory, British ruled, whatever you want to call it, Northern Ireland, part of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. On the back, it does give an age statement. It says age for a minimum of 3 years. Proximo Spirits, New Jersey. But is it bottled in New Jersey? No. I don't know why. But the website says it's aged 5 years. And of course, 5 years is at least 3 years. So it's a 5-year age or more. All right. Someone's burning my eye. Okay, here's the Busker. No age statement, so whoops. The Busker, no age. No, I had it up. I had it right. I had to turn it upside down. No age statement. It's grain whiskey. This is the single grain from Royal Oak Distillery. There's the oak. And Ireland, the Irish Republic. The part of Ireland with their own president. The Whiskey Scout is watching. Morning, Ron. Good morning to you, Whiskey Scout. Thanks for watching. This is 44.3% alcohol, and this one is aged in ex-bourbon barrels and finished for 1 year in ex-marsala barrels. Now, marsala wine is sort of an unusual flavor of wine, and that's why they use it in chicken marsala, that dish, because it's a unique flavor. It's almost like you can't describe what marsala wine tastes like if somebody's never had it. You got to try it to know what it tastes like. It's like trying to describe what an artichoke tastes like to someone who's never had an artichoke. You can't, because it's not like anything else. Okay, this is, and I'm about to turn the lamp on. Don't worry, folks. This is aged in ex-bourbon barrels also. But it's finished probably for a year in ex-sherry barrels. Sherry casks, they say in Europe, casks. They don't say barrel, but it's the same thing. Now, is it dry sherry? Is it cream sherry? Is it cocktail sherry? There's all kinds of sherries, but I don't know, I don't know the answer, but I guess that's a wine that's hard to describe too. It's like, how do you describe it? Try it. You think about it for a minute and say, how would I describe cream sherry to someone who's never had a cream sherry? It doesn't taste like cream, like you're thinking of like put cream in milk. So yeah, it's like this situation. It is this situation. If you want to try it, if you want to know what it tastes like, you just got to try it. You know what I'm saying? No, I mean, you got to try it. And cream sherry, you can get it probably $15. Like the most famous one is Harvey's Bristol Cream from Spain. It's owned by English company. It always been owned by English company, but it's produced in Spain. That's the famous one. In the United States, they got Taylor Cream Sherry, and that's a unique American viewpoint on sherry. It's very different. Like you got Harvey's over here and Taylor over there, and they're not. And Taylor you could probably find for $10, but they're kind of like the same ABV, about 18%, but they're kind of like clashing with each other in flavor. And they'll both claim they're the best. You know how that goes. There's Fairbanks from California. That's another unusual. They're like thin. They seem like they have a thin body. I like them, but it's like a thin body. Okay, but anyway, enough of that. But so sherry cask going to give it a different type of flavor. And price point. This runs about $24. I think I paid like about $24 for it. It might have been 23. I'm pretty sure it was $23.99. Yeah, it's going up a little bit. Maybe it's 25 now, but I don't know. You might find a sale. Now the Busker is running about $30. I checked 3 different online stores. They had it $30.99, $31.99, $32.99. I don't think I'd go to $32.99. I'd shop around. But Walmart had this on sale for $10. They were trying to get rid of it, get it out the store. It was like a year after it hit the market. It was like in 2021 during the height of the scamdemic. And excuse me. And hey, look, I don't know, maybe the distributor promised Walmart a bunch of action on it. Like, oh, this is going to be a big seller. Of course, 2020 probably didn't help. But they had the triple distilled, the green label, the blended, and the single grain for $10. Well, I didn't know anything about the Busker. I had seen it, didn't care about it. But for $10, hey, I'm gonna take that risk every time. Every time. Okay, so the Whiskey Scout says, morning, Ron. I like Marsala. I bought a Harvey's Bristol Cream Sherry yesterday. Oh, yeah. Good. That is wild. All these things you're talking about is real recent for me. Are you talking about all the different type of sherries? There's even a Taylor. It's called Taylor Sherry Excellent for Cooking. That's what it's called. Taylor Sherry Excellent for Cooking. It used to be called Taylor Cooking Sherry, but they got in trouble with the U.S. government because a cooking sherry is not fit to drink. It's like too much salt in it. It's like it'll say on the bottle, it's not fit for drinking. It's for cooking. You cook with it. So they said, because the first time I bought it, it was called Taylor Cooking Sherry. But like I said, they got into some trouble, but I'm sure they didn't get like a fine. They just told them you can't call it that. Oh, so then when the new bottles came out, it's called now Taylor Sherry Excellent for Cooking. But then it says on the bottle, or you could sip it while you're cooking with it. You know what I mean? It says it's good for cooking, but it's actually designed for that. But the bottle description says, but you could sip on it while you're cooking. And that's like that the one they used to sell at Albertsons, the Caraba. And but I apparently a lot of chefs in New Orleans buy a lot of it, and they sipping on it all day while they're cooking with it. 18%. So maybe half of it's used for cooking, and the other half is internal. All right. Anyway, on with the Irish whiskey. I like the Busker is all right, but this grain whiskey is kind of like yeah. Robert was talking about mellow corn, and he was like, I wouldn't want to drink mellow corn, although I did see it the other day for $13.99. But this is sort of like a lighter version of mellow corn at 44.3%. It's got that heavy corn, sweet corn, oak, almost like a vanilla and sugar cream. Sugar cream. So like they put in the cream eggs, those chocolate Easter egg. So I don't know what you think about it. I'm not in love with it, but I don't have it. I don't hate it. I mean, never had Busker. Well, it's worth trying, especially for $10. Burley Sullivan says, you same back to you. Now, Bushmills is a classic, so it's like standard, you know what I mean? Jameson, Patty's, Tullamore DEW, and Bushmills. That's probably your big four. We know which one is number one. We all know which one is number one of those four. Number one's probably got 75% of the sales, and the other three share the bottom 25% of that top sales I'm talking about. But really, when you think about it, all the other Irish whiskeys is probably at a small percentage of the total Irish whiskey sales around the world. That's how big Jameson is. I don't work for Jameson, and I'm not pumping it up for any particular reason. I know what I'm talking about. You see it everywhere. They got it in all these movies, product placement, So Jameson's fine, Is it better or worse than these others that I'm talking about? It might be a little more bland because it's that mass appeal. And Tullamore, to me, I think Tullamore DEW has a little bit more flavor. Maybe the Busker and maybe the Busker's not a big player, but I'm just thinking of triple distilled. And of the top four, Patty's, Tullamore DEW, Bushmills, they probably have a little bit more flavor than Jameson, but I'm not really sure about that. I could just be fantasizing in my mind, misdirected in my mind. All right. Smell like grains, fermented and distilled grains. But this smells like that with no malt. No malted barley. Uh-oh. Let's go with the taste. Cheers. Okay, there's no way that's the Busker. It's got too much honey sweetness. See, now the Busker doesn't have the honey sweetness. It's got honey or nectar, like honeysuckle nectar. It has a little bit of oak. It almost has like that cream sherry sweetness or something. I don't know. A tweak. That'd be minimal, but it tweaks it, like little twist to it. Medium bodied, semi-sweet finish, mostly dry finish, but got a little sweet. Yeah, that's got to be the quintessential Bushmills. Vanilla, oak, sugar cream, and that strange, indescribable marsala feature. From Italy, Sicily Island, Italy. Well, I like it. Don't love it. Certainly don't hate it. Or if I hated it, why would I say I liked it? But you know what I'm saying? It's a little bit strange. Now, would you actually confuse this with mellow corn? No, because mellow corn is 100 proof. This is only 88.6 proof. And mellow corn is not aging theirs or finishing theirs in marsala barrels. So mellow corn's a little more stark of a product. Doesn't have this finesse like this one has, which is probably why it's $14 and this one's $30. All right, I think this is the Bushmills. Did I use the right glasses? think I got the tags mixed up. This cannot be. Both pretty pale. This one looks paler though, and I know that Busker is pale, pale, pale. If I made that mistake, I'd be too embarrassed, but I've done it before. Powers is a big Irish whiskey brand as well. Yeah, Powers. That's probably number 5, huh? Jameson 1. Probably Bushmills number 2. Tullamore Dew is probably DEW is probably number 3. Patty's number 4, and Powers number 5. I'm thinking I need to get Powers. That's definitely on the to buy list. I'm definitely looking to buy Powers. Yes, and I see it not everywhere, but I see it a lot of places. Okay, let me get this straight because this has got me totally mixed up. Well, if I go back and look at the beginning of the video, I looked at the glasses, put it here, put that one there. Because this is the mainstay, put letter M, mainstay, because I'm putting this versus everything else, and this is letter C, the competitor. So you don't want to write the whole word out, because what if one name's longer than the other, and you just somehow could see through the paper, you know what I'm saying, and you see a longer name, well, you're going to know that it's the other product. But a C and an M, they're the same size, same width, same what you call font. So I'm not going to get that. I'm not going to get tipped off by that. Does seem pretty strong proof, 44. That's not. You say, well, 44.3% alcohol is not that much more than 40. I know, but it is more. Okay, all right. I'm just gonna have to say I got it wrong. Well, could the Marsala and the Sherry both fortified wines? They're both dessert wines. And in the United States, dessert wine is a law. It means anything above 14%. It doesn't matter what type it is. Some people will say dessert wine is cheap, expensive, mid-range, it's got liquor added, doesn't have liquor added, whatever. That doesn't matter. That's not part of the law. The regulation is only any wine above 14% is automatically a dessert wine. It could be a $10 bottle and it could be a $1,000 bottle. Anything below 14% is a table wine. Same thing. If you read it, doesn't have anything to do with the quality or the type. It's just below 14, so it's a table wine. In Europe, table wine is like a cheaper store bottle, like $3, and people buy it to drink because it's cheap, like with their meals. But that's not what it is here. In America, it's not that. It's anything below 14 and above 7. 7 to 14. Now, anything below 7 is called like a food product wine. Literally, if you notice, any wine below 7% in the United States is not even under the Tax and Trade Bureau regulations. It's under the Food and Drug Administration, FDA. And it'll have the nutrition stuff on the back and the ingredients like the FDA requires for all of its purview products. Notice that. Now, you say, well, I don't really see any wine below 7. You don't usually. It's usually those wine spritzers, those wine products like Stella Rosa or Capriccio. They're not technically wine. They're wine specialties. They call them wine-based specialty products. And it'll have the FDA stuff on the back. If I'm wrong, prove me wrong. Well, of course, you can't prove me wrong because I know I'm right. I researched it. Okay, I'm wrong about this, though, and it's got me discombobulated. It's got me aggravated, to say the least. just can't see it. This one tastes like the sugar cream, but it could be that marsala and sherry getting me all perplexed. You say you're searching for. I'm not searching for excuses. I'm not searching for excuses. I'm searching for reasons. Like, why would I get this wrong? You see what I'm saying? Why? Why would this happen? And the only thing I could think of is this: they're finished in these dessert wines, these fortified, which could be fortified, could be with like used. Apparently, they use unaged brandy, like grappa. It's just distilled brandy, but they don't age it in oak. So technically it's not brandy. It has to be aged for 2 to 4 years to be brandy, right? But you know what I'm saying? It's what becomes brandy. It's the grape distillate. And I'm just thinking that's because a lot of these other, if you look at a lot of these other websites like Jameson and Patty's and all of them, they just say ex-bourbon barrels. They all say ex-bourbon, ex-bourbon, ex-bourbon. That's sort of like a standard thing that they do. They use ex-bourbon barrels. I don't know who they're from. It may not matter really, but and so it has that standard flavor, ex-bourbon. But here now, I'm all mixed up. But see, another thing that's got me confused is I don't recall ever being mixed up with Bushmills versus those other ones. You know, like I got it wrong a lot of times. Yeah, Bushmills versus Jameson, Bushmills versus Patty, Bushmills versus Tullamore DEW. Yeah, you can get that mixed up very easily. Why is that? They're so similar. They're all 40% alcohol. They all age around 4 to 5 years. They have kind of like a generic flavor. So yeah, it stands to reason you get them mixed up. But this thing here, I can't get it. I can't figure it out. But that's just too bad for me, I guess. Still, I got to take a little more of this because this is not seeming right. You say you're just trying to find an excuse to drink. You got it wrong on purpose so that you could drink. And it's not even 6 a.m. Oh, yeah, it is. Exactly. Oh, yeah. It's after 6. Hey, party time. No, but I got to figure this out. I love the bottle. I think Bushmill got about the best looking bottles. Just everything looks. They can't figure out their label. They change the label about every 2 years. They don't change it in a major way, but they change it. Like you look at Bushmills. You can go to a liquor store, and it'll have Bushmills original, the white label, and it have like 3 different labels on the shelf. Like the one from 2 years ago, this year, and the one from 4 years ago, and they all like you say, well, that's different. This one had Bushmills above it. This one had it below. No way. There's no way I got. It doesn't taste anything like the single grain. I don't know. Did I just get like distracted and poured in the wrong glass? Something because that's standard there. That's, of course, I was looking at it. I don't know. This one's a mystery. This is a mystery. Okay, but anyway, you got to live with it. So you take it as you. And you could say, well, if you put it in the wrong glass, it's a disqualification off the bat. That's certainly a good argument. Well, I gotta come out of this. I gotta overcome this, and we're gonna do next the Busker versus Blackbush. I can't see getting Blackbush confused with any other Irish whiskey on the planet because Blackbush is 80-20 blend, but it's actually a 20-80 blend because usually they get the grain first. It's 20% grain whiskey and it's 80% single malt. See what I'm saying? It's most of these that I'm doing is 80-20, 80% grain, 20% single malt and copper pot still, kind of like American blended whiskey, except they're not using 80% unaged spirit. Okay. But the Blackbush is 20-80. It's 20% grain whiskey and 80% single malt. And it's aged 8 years. You heard me right. I'll get this right. 8 years. I'm doing my hands wrong. 8 yeah, well, whatever, 8 years. That's it. 8 years. Got it. I did drink these. 8 years in Oloroso cask. Oloroso sherry. Now, Oloroso sherry, well, you could find it in the United States. If you're looking, you got to look a lot. You got to look a lot for it. Look around. You might find it. You could track it down, but Oloroso sherry is a much higher grade. So you ain't going to find it for $14. But that gives it a very, almost like a dark. Yeah, I got to do some more read, but I know it's aged 8 years in Oloroso. It might be finished in Oloroso, but I think they say all the way through 8 years. I think it's 8 total years in only Oloroso sherry cask. And it's 80% grain, 80% single malt. So yeah, I can't see getting that one wrong, but you never know. I guess you never know till you do it, right? Okay, last comments, and we out of here. Herbie says, hi, hello to you, looking young. Yeah, well, I'm not young, I'm middle-aged, but thank you. All right, thanks for watching, everybody, and I'm sorry I got this screwed up, but it happens. I mean, you do these too many times, and you're going to have some hiccups. That's the way I see it. That's been my experience. But I've been mostly right, on these. Yeah, so we're going to do the Black Bush, then the Red Bush, age, and I know this is right, age in ex-bourbon only. That's why I call it Red Bush, because, bourbon has a nickname of red liquor, bourbon. So that's going to be a fascinating one. And then we're going to cross the Irish Sea over to Scotland. Scotland and Ireland are very close to each other. I think you could take a ferry. That's why you got so many people in there called Scotch Irish, because they're half Scottish, half Irish. Scotch Irish. They're like in East Tennessee, Kentucky, Western Virginia, and Western North Carolina. I think that's a whole big area of Scotch Irish people. But and they have their own cuisine, and everything. But we're going to go to Ireland, and we're going to bring in an 8-year-old single malt, Speyside. 8-year-old Speyside single malt. And I think everybody's going to just love this one. Although you're going to probably have a hard time finding it. Most of y'all have a hard time finding it, but I do know where to find it because I live close to where they have it. All right, y'all take care now. Bye-bye.